right now at 6, a weather watch alert as the next couple of commutes may have some issues. We'll talk about it coming up.
Rent in Connecticut is only affordable if you are making at least $60,000 a year, which many of us struggle to do.
Rent going in one direction, that is up. So we're going to tell you what advocates are pushing lawmakers to do to cap the price.
When you don't have the money, you don't know where you're going to get the money, then you begin to compromise your health care. That should never, ever happen.
Struggling to pay medical bills, Governor Ned Lamont laying out more proposals to limit the costs of health care.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good Wednesday morning. Thanks for being with us here at Fox 61 at 6. I'm Erica Arias.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. We are under a weather watch alert, not for anything that's happening now. It's quiet, but we've got more winter weather headed our way.
Yeah, we sure do. We're checking in with meteorologist Matt Scott. We're talking about the timing of this storm. That's really important.
Yeah, and the timing, even though it's not a lot of moisture that we're dealing with, the timing's not great. Now, later on the day and mainly into tomorrow morning. The next two are going to be tough. The one that we have out now as we take a look at the live Doppler is not a major issue, but coming in fast for tonight is going to be a mix of rain changing over to some wintry mix, maybe a little snow and higher elevations. Again, quantity is not the problem. It's the quality and the timing that we're not thrilled with. 31 degrees in Hartford, 28 in New Haven, 32 in Groton. Temperatures down to 25 in Waterbury, 27 in Torrington. So there are enough of you that are under freezing. There are a couple of wet roads out there. I haven't seen any major issues accident-wise, but Lauren, of course, will get you up to date with that in a moment. Just be on the mind for that. Now, later on tonight, 5 o'clock whistle, maybe a whole different story. We've got some rain coming in. Temperatures will be warm enough, but they will cool off, and we will start to see a little bit of a wintry mix coming into play between 5 and 8 o'clock. And then tomorrow morning, we may be dealing with some more mainly rain, but there may be a little prolonged icing, especially for higher elevations. We'll be watching for that. Bus stop forecast should not be a major problem today for now. Later on is the issue. 30 degrees and mostly clear skies, 43 and cloudy later on. So again, the temperatures later on, Lauren Zenzi, start fairly mild. It's how they end. It may be a little problem. We'll talk about that coming up.
Yeah, you were actually talking about, and earlier on, Rachel was talking about that there could be a couple of slick roadways out there. We did have a spin out over in the Windsor area on I-91 southbound. That has since cleared, so that is some good news for the morning commute. Let's bring it out into one closure that we are following. This is out in Lisbon. Route 169 is closed at Kimball Road. This is because a car hit a utility pole. A lot of wires fell, so they are working on that restoration work right now. Hopefully that'll be cleared up relatively soon. Luckily, there are a lot of other ways to get around Route 169. In and around the Hartford area, 91 looking great this morning, 84 moving smooth. Route 2 coming over the bridge looking great, even East Hartford into the Hartford area over the Bulkley Bridge looking great this morning. We do have some moderate volume, I would say, on the southbound side of I-91 heading into the capital city, right near that where I-91 branches off to I-84, but overall traffic is moving smoothly. New Haven over to West Haven looking great this morning, and as we move down into Fairfield County, we're not really seeing any delays as of right now, just a little extra volume out on the southbound side of I-95. We'll check in again on the roads coming up at 6:30. For now, Tim and Eric, I'll send things back over to you.
Okay, Lauren, thank you. Parents in New Haven, listen up. There's no school at Wilbercross High School today. Officials said emergency repairs are being done to a water valve. The school district said they expect that classes will resume tomorrow, but they're not sure at this point, so they will confirm one way or another later this afternoon. This morning, state lawmakers have a lot of public opinion to sort through as they consider a bill that would put a cap on annual rent increases.
Yeah, public hearing on the bill was held yesterday. It went on for hours, and that was after an hours-long delay because of an internet outage.
Yeah, Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro, though, has that recap for us. He's live outside the Capitol. Good morning.
Tim, Erica, good morning. And those lawmakers hearing from hundreds of people about this proposed legislation, both those in support of this bill and also those against this bill as well. Now, that hearing yesterday, that was supposed to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. Did not get started, though, until 3 p.m. after that internet outage, and then it ran all the way into late last night. Now, this proposed legislation that lawmakers are considering this morning, that would cap annual rent increases at 4% plus inflation. Now, according to Cap the Rent Connecticut, a coalition of organizations fighting for rent stability, renters in Connecticut have seen, on average, double-digit rent increases in the last 2 years. In the Hartford area, rent for a one-bedroom in 2019, that was $960. Well, in 2023, this year, it's over $1,200. Some advocates are fighting for an even lower cap on those rent increases, as they argue it's hard for families to keep up with those price increases just about everywhere. However, landlords also say they're affected by rising costs like higher taxes, electricity rates, and insurance rates.
Our taxes went up 22% from last year. So all of our expenses have gone through the roof. We're not trying to gouge people. We're trying to stay in the business that we love.
Inflation is not the tenant's responsibility. Inflation is being used against the poor and the working class.
And this proposed legislation, this would also require 90-day warnings of rent increases. Now, yesterday was just a public hearing, which comes at the start of the legislative process. This proposed bill still needs to make its way through the legislature before it comes up for a possible vote. We are live here in the capital city this morning. I'm Angelo Bavar, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Okay, Angelo, thank you.
Yeah, we'll check back at 7. Thanks so much. Meantime, at 6:06, Governor Ned Lamont announced 2 more legislative proposals yesterday that would reduce health care costs here in Connecticut. One bill's goal is to protect patients and prohibit unnecessary health care costs. The other would limit anti-competitive health care practices. Now, many in the General Assembly agree with the governor that reducing medical costs will take several approaches.
The committee is working on a holistic effect with the governor's bills, with public health bills, with human services bills in order to lower costs.
This is one small part toward that solution. We can't do nothing.
A public hearing was held yesterday on the anti-competitive healthcare practices legislation.
Today, Senator Richard Blumenthal is announcing a plan to make routes for cyclists and pedestrians safer in New Haven.
Fox 61's Brooke Griffin is live in the Elm City with what funding is being made available. Brooke, good morning.
Good morning to you both. Senator Richard Blumenthal is set to announce a $400,000 award that's going to go to New Haven streets, sidewalks, and crosswalks. One of them being this intersection right here. This is the Bassett Street intersection, and it's one of those that's going to get those improvements. Now, the funding is part of the city's Safe Routes for All plan. The goal of the plan to make sure New Haven is a more pedestrian-friendly city in upcoming months and years. The funding has been awarded by the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program. This is a new program established to prevent roadway deaths and injuries. The funding being announced at the same time auto versus pedestrian crash rates remain high in Connecticut. The awarded funding will be used for multiple quick build projects along the corridors of Blatchley Avenue, Bassett Street, Kimberly Avenue, the Winthrop and Sherman area, and Wintergreen Avenue. Now, several New Haven and Connecticut supporters of this will be out at the announcement today. That will be at 2 p.m. And of course, we will have the full story and what they have to say about this large project that they're taking on for the New Haven streets coming up this afternoon. Live in New Haven, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hi, Brooke, thank you. It is 6:09. Let's go to Hartford now, where police officers responded to a car crash only to find the driver had been shot. All we know about the victim at this point is that he's in his late 20s and is in a hospital right now. We don't know where or when he was shot, but the crash happened just before 6 o'clock last night near Farmington Avenue and Woodland Street. Officers said the man crashed his car into some parked cars, and they initially thought his injuries were from the crash. West Hartford police arrested a 16-year-old who's now facing attempted murder and other charges. Police said the teen stabbed an adult Monday night at a home on Federal Street. The victim was stabbed in the neck and at last check was stable at a hospital.
The preliminary investigation led to a 16-year-old juvenile suspect who does not reside at the resident location, being taken into custody by West Hartford police officers and was held on an order to detain at juvenile detention.
That teen is also facing charges of first-degree assault and disorderly conduct.
A North Branford man is facing 3 charges after police say he tried to meet up with someone who he thought was a 14-year-old girl for sexual activities. Investigators say 37-year-old Halil Demirez tried using a messaging app to get together with a teen girl, but she was actually an undercover officer. Demirez is accused of traveling to East Haven to meet with the girl, and that's where officers arrested him. Demirez was released on $150,000 bond. He's set to be back in court at a later date.